Your camera's off.
Yeah, well, you don't want this camera on.
Do you want to share the agenda?
Sure. Although when I do that, people can't see you.
Oh.
It's a little weird. All right, how's that look?
Looks fine. Okay. So this is a meeting. This is our weekly development meeting. We don't have access to the YouTube live feed today, so we're going to do a recording and post it later, and we're going to hope that it works out okay. Starting with information about releases from this week. Maybe just kick it over to you, Nate.
Sure. Okay. So, boy, we had a lot of things going on yesterday, especially. So we had a nice code sprint on Sunday that was kind of in tandem, like online, but also was the code sprint day for Drupal Camp Colorado. And we got together and had some good progress on a lot of small issues during code sprint. That was great. We got a lot of views cross-ports done. John, I think you were working on file entities, so lots of small progress areas there. And then yesterday we released Backdrop 1.13.3, so a bug fix release that included 3 security fixes. And so you can get information about those security fixes from the release notes page and also backdropcms.org/security. If you log into your Backdrop website, you probably have a red dot now saying that you need to update. Let's see. All 3 of those fixes, though, you know, the levels of severity on them are always a little cryptic. 2 moderately critical and 1 critical, all of which are mitigated by you have to be an administrator to create any of them. So anyway, it was great to have those security issues fixed. And thank you very much to our security researchers who have been really all over the place reporting issues with Backdrop. I think that it comes from the CVE process that we now are reporting all of our CVEs independently from Drupal whenever we have something that's unique. And I think that that's driven a lot of new researchers into investigating Backdrop to build the prestige of having reported issues and then getting them fixed. They get reported in the CVEs that come out and are published. So really appreciate that. All of our security researchers, big thank you. Let's see. So Backdrop 1.13.3 also included a number of those views cross-ports. And per our security policy, our backporting policy, we also support the previous version of Backdrop that also got a security release. So Backdrop 1.12.8 was also released for those people that are still on Backdrop 1.12. Okay, let's see. The next bug fix version then, items that didn't get completed in 1.13.3. I meant to also say one of our critical issues that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks is that if you change layout templates and the region names don't match identically, then we have this issue that the blocks previously would get lost. They would just be discarded if the regions didn't line up. And so issue 3762 was an issue to fix that, and Herbdool, I think, was the one that went through and corrected that functionality. And so now any blocks that don't match regions get added to the default region, which is usually the content area, with a nice little message saying that the blocks have been relocated to the new region. Let's see. 113.4, we moved all of the unfinished items that were prioritized from 113.3 into 113.4. The one issue in particular is this darn persistent views is none of operator being broken. It's issue 3614. Still in the same situation there that we have a fix that works and tests that test, but we're getting PHP notices when the tests are run. And so it's making so that we can't merge that in because it would break all of the automated tests. So 3614 still hanging out there with a little bit of problem with getting the tests going. Let's see, on the views cross-ports issue, 3685, bunches of issues were fixed in 113.3. We still have a long ways to go, as you can see, all of these checkboxes that need to be checked. But this first issue, at least, all of them are completed except for this one. There's an issue with tests there. I think we're about halfway through the second one. So we've got lots of work to catch up with cross-ports from views, but we're making a lot of progress there. And this is largely stuck on code reviews right now. So reviewing them all code-wise and also then getting them all merged. That's our current holdup. Gregory has been really all over the place, making lots and lots of cross-ports. So the first couple of issues, couple of items within the meta have cross-ports for almost every single issue. So we're really just held up on the merging. Let's see. 113.4, we also have other issues. Let's see how many of those guys got bumped. There are currently 42 issues in the 113.4 list, some of which you can see have been getting some activity, which is fantastic. So looks like I've got a couple more things to merge. That's kind of it for the bug fix status of things. Things are really churning along and we're getting lots of fixes in. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be happy to see 113.3 come out because that included a lot of small minor fixes as well. The next minor version, 114 will be coming out September 15th. The feature freeze on September 1st. So we're definitely getting down to the wire here on improving some of the functionality that's in Backdrop Core. Let's see, the first issue that we have here is signatures on packages, issue 1992, part of our automatic updates initiative. This is going to be sad. I don't have any updates on this again, but this week we had lots of other issues, but this one that I'm trying to focus on, I haven't put any attention towards, so I don't think I have any updates to say on digital signatures. Jen, you did some work on fieldable files, though, issue 2632. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So at the sprint this weekend, I spent most of my time working on an upgrade path so that if you were running Backdrop Core before this change went in, you would get essentially the same functionality as if you had enabled the file entity module on Drupal 7. So that means creating a bunch of database tables, modifying a few tables, and putting in some default file types for image and document. And there were a couple of little issues with like file uploads didn't work if you didn't have any file types defined. And now it will still let you upload a file even without a type, and it just leaves undefined in the column, which is what it did before you had file entity module. So just a bunch of like little tiny cleanups around the upgrade path there. What I'm working on today is I'm going to try and make the user experience better now that all of the same features are there. And then I have added a to-do list into the top of the issue that includes a bunch of other stuff that we probably should do. And I might split that into things that have to get done before we merge it versus things that we can do after. One of the things in particular that I want to work on is converting file types from being a record in the database to being in configuration, but I'm not sure that needs to happen before we merge it, because it's easy to do an upgrade path for that. But I'd like to get some feedback on that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I was thinking about saying something now, but I think I'll post it to the issue. Okay, Gregory isn't with us this week, but his 2 items that he's got on the agenda here, Trusted Host Patterns is issue 2568. I'm pretty sure this is in a state of needs code review. The crossport is complete. That makes it so that you can make it so that your site can't be pointed at by other arbitrary domain names. So that issue is in needs review. Configurable layout templates is a really super cool issue that Doc Bowman has been working on, issue number 3755. Gregory is also the advocate for this issue. I went through and did a code review on it. I think there's been lots of really excellent discussions on this one. It's one of our longest threaded discussions at the moment. We're a little over 100 and some comments. So I did a little code review on it. I basically gave it a thumbs up saying I think Doc Bowman should continue proceeding on this. I started a bike shed about columns versus regions, but Gregory basically said, I think it's fine. Which I'm fine with that as well. Just wanted to express my opinion.
Wait, did you want to call them columns again?
Yeah, that's what I said. Because I found it weird that like regions per row like is a funny concept as opposed to columns per row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found a little bit weird when showing the dialogues for this is it number of regions and choose region widths. All that I thought was just a little.
Oh.
Yeah, I found the terminology to be a little weird. The user interface, that was great. Like
yeah,
major props to Doc.
So do you think we should change everywhere we refer to regions? Should we call them columns? Like
so here's the thing is the reason why they're called regions is because regions aren't necessarily columns.
Right.
So you could have regions that were like in the middle of the page and not in a column layout at all. But in the case of this user interface, it's explicitly only building out columns and rows. And so I think that it's safe to refer to them as columns in this case because you're not allowed to make a region that's not inside of a row inside of a column.
The same thing, 2 different names in 2 different places.
In the case of a flexible layout, I think columns and rows make sense. But in the case of any layout generally, they're called regions because it's not necessarily locked into the columns and rows paradigm.
So when someone is adding blocks to a flexible layout, do you want to put them in columns?
Well, adding blocks to a flexible layout is no different than adding a block to any other layout, right?
Right, but you're saying that they should be called columns there, or is it only in the process of like building the layout you want to call them columns, and then after the layout exists, you call them regions?
Right, because in the case of all layouts, we can only call them regions because we don't know if they're going to be columns or rows or whatever. But in the process of building a layout, in this paradigm, you're locked down to only columns and rows. And so referring to them as columns, I think makes sense.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, even though...
We might need to separate the code then. I don't know, I haven't looked at it. But I think it's reusing a lot of the same stuff for like adding a block to a region versus building a region. I don't know.
Yeah, it's doing something kind of novel that there's like different layout display modes or like renderers. There's the one for the front end and then there's the one for the back end. And he's made a second or a third layout renderer, one for assembling a flexible layout. But I think it's, I don't know. We would have to take a look to see if there's a way that it can always be columns when building a layout. I don't think it would affect the other interfaces. Well, anyway.
Okay. worth
Yeah.
revisiting. I also think that could be the kind of thing where we just need to get more people testing it. And if we merge it as is, we can change those strings later.
Yeah, that's also true. Okay. I think there was some unanswered question though. I posted. I thought it looked great, but Takoma had another technical concern that I think is still unanswered about the way he did something. But he posted it in Gitter, and now I've lost it. So
yeah,
I'm not actually sure what the unanswered question is anymore. Okay, let's keep going though. Recent news block in dashboard is issue 3566. Tim is not around this meeting. Let's see. I looked at this one during the code sprint as well, that there's a pull request to add the API onto backdropcms.org. And it's done mostly via like an update to configuration, like making a view and making a new content type actually called notification as well.
Yeah.
So one thing is that I don't think that the path that we put this at is important at all, because we do need to make it permanent, because we're going to have coded into Backdrop itself a URL that it'll be hitting this this configuration file. But because we can like alias content at like the Nginx level, like route one path to another path, like we just need to decide what that is, and then that will be the permanent string inside of Backdrop. But the path that this view is at is, we can move that around.
Okay.
However, when I looked at this, it was still it's using Views JSON module, but it's very, I don't know, it's very field API-ish, like the API, you look at it, and like the JSON return includes like field underscore link, field underscore text or something like that, like I would like to make it so that the JSON is like formatted in a way that it's not like
doesn't use views.
No, that isn't using the exact field names from within Backdrop, exposed as
keys.
As keys, exactly.
Huh.
Yeah. Because this really should look like a generic API that could be coming from anywhere, and Backdrop happens to be providing it. But when you start exposing raw Backdrop data model into your APIs, then it's you've
then we can't change the data model.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or change where it's coming from, if we decide Backdrop shouldn't be the provider of this in the future or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable. I feel like there probably should be an interface in Views.json for configuring the keys.
Yeah, I thought there
already is in Views a way to do that. I'll just see if that works in the JSON output or not. And if not, we can hook it up so it does.
Yeah.
Like under advanced, you can always define a new key for any field. So that's probably what we just need to do, and it would work.
Yeah. I was looking around for that, trying to see if that was possible, but I only spent a short while looking at it. Okay. So that's hung up a little bit on getting API provided from Backdrop itself. CKEditor, keeping it up to date, is issue 3355. Looks like we don't currently have a pull request to get updated to the latest minor version of CKEditor 4, but I think that is our hope, that we would be able to get that updated so that we're on the latest version of CKEditor within the 4.x branch. That's it. There's other items that are in the 114 milestone that we don't talk about every week. You can get them from GitHub. I don't have anything else to talk about, and it's just Jen and I today. So Jen, do you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's just keep on rocking then. Thanks everybody out there for watching this video once we get it posted to YouTube. Thanks very much, everybody.